Such beautiful music. Welcome back. It is Outnumbered. President Trump turning to one of his signature campaign issues today, and that is immigration. He's set to meet at the White House this afternoon with victims of crimes committed by illegals. This as Mr. Trump is pushing to get two major bills passed in the House this week, one penalizing sanctuary cities, which refuse to enforce immigration law by withholding some federal law enforcement grant money, and Kate's Law, which toughens penalties on deported felons who re-enter the country. The law is named after Kate Steinle, whose 2015 murder by an illegal immigrant in the sanctuary city of San Francisco became a turning point in the immigration debate. Here's a top GOP lawmaker earlier.
What this bill will do will empower the ICE authorities, withhold some grants to these cities that think they become sanctuary cities, not abide by the laws of America, but even more importantly, will allow the families to sue those municipalities if they want to break the law and not uphold the federal laws of America.
All right, Charlie, so they have tried to pass similar legislation a few years in a row. How is this turn going to be different?
Well, I think the big difference is we're seeing Democrats sort of back down from their rock-solid opposition to this, giving members a pass, which always means that they're trying to throw a lifeline to their members that, look, if this is going to kill you back home, you don't have to, you don't have to die on the ramparts of this one, which I think probably paves the way for it to pass. All
right, so Marie, who are some of the Democrats who live in places where something like Kate's Law would ensure their future re-election?
Well, that's a good question. Here's what is interesting to me about these two laws. You have groups like the Fraternal Order of Police, the International Association of Police Chiefs, law enforcement groups who don't support these laws because of the threat to cut federal funding. They say we need this funding. Sometimes illegal immigrants help us solve really bad crimes. Yeah. So this is not sort of a black and white issue. It is much more politically complicated, and I will be curious to see where this goes, and particularly if Democrats do sign on to something that has some opposition in the law enforcement community.
Yeah. But the funding that we're talking about here is funding that comes from the federal government for enforcing these laws. And the idea that you're going to get the funding even though you're actually not enforcing the laws is kind of absurd on the face of it.
Well, the police chiefs in I think it's over 600 police
because they just
precincts.
don't want to lose the money. But they don't agree with the idea that
I would defer to them on the best way to enforce some of this. And look, this is, I think, going to have some legal challenges at the federal level if they do pass and they do get signed into law. And Megan, we've talked about this a lot. This is just, in some respects, a Band-Aid for, I know it's tough politically, but for comprehensive immigration reform.
No, you're
not what we need.
You're right about that.
I never said that, just for the record.
No, we talked about the topic. The topic of needing comprehensive immigration
I'm from Arizona. I mean, I'm ground zero of where this is all going to be affected. Yeah. What I will say is things like sanctuary cities and stories like Kate Steinle's, for me, someone who understands that there's a lot more nuance to this than just build a wall, kick them all out. What it does to people like me when you say, no, I'm going to take your taxpayer money, we're going to have this sanctuary city, people that commit crimes, it doesn't matter. You have a home here in San Francisco, it doesn't matter. Do you know what that does to me? It makes me a hardline immigration person, and it turns me further and further to the right and more hardcore on this issue, which is what Democrats have to learn, because I truly believe President Trump won on immigration and jobs. First thing, coming down the golden steps of Trump Tower saying, we got to build a wall, we got to kick them all out. That is what helped him win this election. Americans
it obviously resonated, but you made the point that we're at a very different place than we were 7 years ago on health care. We're obviously also in a very different place than we were in 2015 before Kate Steinle's murder.
It's true, and all of these things are a Band-Aid. I mean, every single thing only solves a limited problem. There's nothing that's going to solve every problem, and if that's the test that we hold up, we're never going to do anything. I mean, it's the same false argument that people make about, having tougher immigration laws or the travel ban, and they say it's not going to fix this case, it's not going to fix that case. You're always going to find reasons why whatever we're doing isn't going to solve something, and we have to do a bunch of things. I mean, this is just one of them.
All right. It can also help, which I think
it can help.
Groups like the Cato Institute say it actually won't help, and it'll just have a huge federal funding component to it that will put a lot more burden on us at the federal level and actually won't help do what it says it will do.
I think not having a sanctuary city could possibly help, like situations like Kate Steinle not happen, where an illegal immigrant who's committed crimes ends up killing someone. I think it ultimately could help that problem.
I think it's definitely an issue that is much more of a hot button issue for some of the border states, and they have a very different conversation. But to your point, we do need immigration reform in this country, and maybe we'll get it by the end of this week. Probably.
July 4th.
Yay. Democrats continuing with their resistance after Monday's sit-in on the Capitol steps. Dems now calling to use the 4th of July recess as a big push to kill the GOP's health care bill, but could that backfire? And this comes amid reports on how Dems are grappling with how to appeal to Bernie Sanders supporters while trying to work and win back working-class voters who left the party during the 2016 elections. Are Democrats facing an identity crisis? We'll straighten everything out next.